Everybody, Tim with Neen's Bees. How's everyone doing? It is September 29th, 2018, and beautiful Post Falls, Idaho. It's cool today, like a little less than 60, maybe 60. Super windy today, like 25 mile an hour winds, 20 mile an hour winds, 25 mile an hour gusts. But today is extraction day part 2, and we're going to finish up the second part of the honey extraction. So if you saw the first part, same verse, second verse, same as the first. Nothing changes except for my setup in the garage. So check it out. So we got the space heater fired up because it's cool. Look at this badass skull that Brittany came up with from somewhere for Halloween. Anyway, so we got the space heater fired up. We're warm in the garage. Obviously, doors are cracked. Plenty of ventilation in here, but it is about 80 degrees in here, maybe, something like that. So we have like 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, and then 10, 12, 14, 16 more frames to do today that we're going to do. So set up a little bit different, but mostly the same. So uncapping table. You guys have seen the extractor. You know how it works. And then honey gate bucket goes down on the floor right here, just the straining bucket. And that's where we're going to strain into. So a little bit longer, we're going to get underway, and we'll see some good looking honey. And I have a little bit more to show to you at the end of the video, so make sure you stay tuned. Okay, so not a ton out of these frames, I don't think. These ones were lighter frames, not a whole bunch capped, and then I remembered too that these are foundationless frames and I can't spin those. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out, when I bottle, I'm going to cut out, let me lean this up like this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out chunks right here when I bottle, and put a chunk of honeycomb into my jars, just kind of as a novelty. I think it'll be pretty cool. So here's another foundationless frame. Really pretty stuff. Pretty light colored. You see that? The light's not super great in here, but nice and light colored. And so I'm just going to cut out triangular chunks out of this stuff and put it in as I jar, as I bottle, and I think that'll be cool. And so this is the dark, this is a lot darker stuff. This is from way up north. This is a pretty good frame right here. So I'm going to do these the old-fashioned way. Instead of mixing the two honeys, having to wash everything up and then extract just 3 frames, I'm going to just scrape those off, get rid of all the old comb, because that's old comb anyway, and then just put new foundation in those frames. And so we got a pretty good little drip of honey going here. So extracting is, for the most part, done. We're draining out right now. There's not a lot, maybe a couple gallons. And that'll be the rest, that'll be the last for the year. So all in all this year, I think probably, you know, with that dark stuff that I'm going to extract, maybe I'm close to 14 gallons or so. Something like that. Not bad for only harvesting 3.5 hives. I only harvested 3 full hives, and then I robbed out a half a 8-frame box out of another one. So I'm going to take, and the stuff extracted nice. So here's, you can see that it wasn't all, that's where I cut the cappings, so some of the cappings didn't get cut because it wasn't all sealed. Still good honey, good nectar, just not all sealed. So I'm just going to take those out, refeed them to the bees. I'll look at the weather, and these bees can put up more stores. They can put more and more in. I fed 5 gallons of syrup today to 4 hives there, and am making more food as we speak, actually. So that's what I got. One more little segment coming up. Stay tuned. Okay, you guys, I know some of you have heard me talk about I'm going to do this the old-fashioned way, and so I just kind of wanted to give you an example. So this is just a 5-gallon paint strainer. Okay, so paint strainer goes on over the bucket, and I usually keep it a little bit high, just so I have a little bit of room to tie it off there when I'm done. So there is paint strainer in the bucket, okay, is how I do it. So then I'll show you, let me throw on some gloves real quick because it's nice not having to wash my hands all the time. So the old-fashioned way is just taking one of my food grade buckets here with a paint strainer, and when I don't want to fire up the extractor, but I do want to bottle a little bit of honey, or I have a little bit of fairly specialized honey, especially if it's on old comb. Old comb especially I'll get rid of. So as far as old comb goes, like see how dark this comb is? This is just old comb. It's great for the queen to lay in. It's not great for the bees to put honey in. It's just old. And so what I'll do is I'll take like this, and I'll just get it down right into the strainer, like this, right down into the bucket. And I'll just take my spatula, and so my spatula has just a little bit of a blade on it, right here like this. And you can just take and get into that wax, and you're just pushing all of this honey. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. You're just gonna push all this honey down out of here. I really like these frames because as far as this old comb, because it's chocked full of pollen actually too. There's pollen and honey in here, and this stuff is super good for you. And so then that's what it looks like, is just a cleaned out frame. Cappings are down in there, all the wax and everything is down in there, so you can just take and put a little scrape on this right down here. Just get off any of the excess. And then the other side. So the other side, same thing. All you're going to do is just take and watch that honey push down out of there. And I've done other videos like this before, but this is me not wanting to wash everything up so I don't have to mix honey either, because the stuff that I just extracted is super light, nice amber colored, beautiful golden honey, and is a lot of alfalfa, knapweed honey, some linden tree in it, and that's from down here on the prairie. This stuff is from up at about 3,000 feet, 3,300 feet, and so this is just a lot of old wildflower honey, wildflower nectar right here. And so that's what it looks like. And so then I'll put that in there. I'll let the bees still clean it up. They can eat all this stuff off of here, and then I'll pop the frame out and put a new frame in. That over there in the frame box. And then so what I'll do is I've got a masher, and I'll just mash all that comb up, or even just use my hands, just break it all up. I'll put 3 of them in there, break it up, and then I'll tie a knot in the bag, and I'll hoist it up above the bucket and just let it all strain down in there. And so that's when you hear me talk about doing it the old-fashioned way, that is the way that I do it. So this will be a different color honey, and I'll show you the end product here in just a minute. Okay, so the rest of the story, the rest of the video, and here it is what I wanted to show you. As I was extracting, you saw me finish up just the rest of the extraction. Pretty easy video, like I said. The first video kind of went in depth on just how I do it. It's just done in my garage, real easy. But I wanted to show you what I was excited about. So this is the dark honey that I was doing the old-fashioned way. When you saw me strain it into the bucket, just the 3 frames. It's all I have of this stuff, short of this. This honey took first place at the North Idaho State Fair in Coeur d'Alene, which was Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which is very exciting to me. This is my first entry in it. First place off of my dark honey. And this one just blew it out of the park. I mean, great score. I think I was 99 on it out of 100. So you can score 100 on these, was the judges' scorecard on them. I got second place, and so this is the majority of the honey that I had for this year, was this beautiful light amber colored honey. And so this is like alfalfa, knapweed, and linden tree. So probably about 60% alfalfa, 30% knapweed, and this is just going off of seasons and what's in bloom, and then about 10% linden tree. And I say linden tree 10% because they're only in bloom for like maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks at the most, but they produce a ton of nectar. I think maybe quite a bit of it gets used up feeding babies because they pop in the springtime. The nectar comes out in the springtime, and so probably gets a lot of it used up. Not many put up for stores. But this stuff took second place at the fair, and my scorecard out of 100, I went 99.5 on this. I know the guy who beat me, John, and his honey was just 1% drier than mine, and so that bumped him up to a better score. But was pretty excited, and so this is what I have to show for my season's worth of honey this year, and that was very exciting to me. So other than lots of honey bottled, and lots of just great compliments on the flavor of this stuff. This stuff's great too. This is like Indian paintbrush, fireweed, just everything that the bees are getting up in the mountains of North Idaho. This is prairie honey here, so lots of prairie around here, alfalfa fields, knapweed, like I said. So anyway, just wanted to say thanks for watching my whole season here so far. I am going to be doing a couple of videos just on buttoning up your hives, getting them ready for winter. As you guys have heard me talk about, winters up here are super tough on the bees. They're long winters, and so if they don't have enough stores, they're probably not going to make it. But lots of food for them, lots of insulation. We'll touch on that in the next couple of videos. Also, I'm excited because now I can put all my focus on elk season, moose season, deer season. I could bought a bear tag, which I never do, but I did buy a bear tag this year. And so I have a feeling it's going to be a good time. So now that I'm done extracting, watch for the Moose Chronicles, Neen's Bees / the Moose Chronicles, because I'm going to start filming all my hunts I leave in just over a week for my elk camp and moose camp and everything else. So that's what I got. I appreciate it, you guys, and keep watching. I'll be making more. God bless.